I know this may come as a surprise, and I don't want to shock anybody here, but the movie with the poster that looks like it was drawn by an 8th grader is a giant piece of garbage. Today, the Pryor brothers, David and Ted, have amassed a bit of a cult following because of the recent reappraisal of their Rambo ripoff Deadly Prey from 1987. A few years before that, in 1983, the brothers made their first feature film, Sledgehammer. Without a doubt in my mind, I can confidently say that this is among the worst of all 1980s slasher films, and if we're being honest, probably one of the worst movies of any type that I've ever seen. The plot is simple. A screeching group of irritating white people go to a house in the middle of nowhere, and then a developmentally stunted madman kills them one by one. That's it. This movie tricks you into thinking it might be entertaining by kicking off with a ridiculous scene where this horrible mother is shoving her child in a closet so that she can go downstairs and lick the torso of her boyfriend, only for her and the boyfriend to be brutally murdered with the titular sledgehammer. Sure, it's shot on video that looks like garbage, and they obviously rented or borrowed an unfurnished home and shot all their scenes in these barren rooms, but the opening prologue was so absurd that I was ready to be entertained for the rest of the film. How wrong I was! This movie is like watching paint dry. I was fighting to keep my eyes on the screen for most of it. Scene after scene of these talentless actors talking about crap that does not matter and I do not care about. Writer-director David Pryor drags this miserable film kicking and screaming to feature length with slow motion segments that punctuate nothing at all, endless static shots of people talking, and even replaying much of the prologue later as a recap for the characters. Did you think I forgot? Those scenes were like less than an hour ago, and they're the only remotely memorable part of this movie. Why would you need to recap them mid-film? I really can't overstate how unlikable and irritating these characters are. David Pryor must have thought that we'd love them because he subjects us to never-ending scenes of them prattling on about God knows what, and even making us sit through a pointless mustard-heavy food fight scene. An extended sequence of intercutting the ladies talking about the men in one room while the men talk about the women in another room was so hypnotically pointless I started to hallucinate them breaking into song and singing Tell Me More from Grease. I don't even really feel the need to critique or comment on the kills or really the horror aspects at all. Even if they were the best kills I'd ever seen in a slasher movie, I don't think they would do much to really offset the impenetrable boredom generated by the rest of the film. This film is so terrible that it might be enjoyable if watched with friends or a jeering audience, but I really don't envision myself trying to watch this again to find out. Who cares how I watched it or how you would watch it? This movie sucks. Avoid. Don't let me know what you thought of this one, and don't check it out. Thank you for watching, though, and check out my channel for some other reviews of horror and exploitation films from around the world.